an epidemic.
I think it's really high here, unfortunately high.
It's a huge problem, but it has to be dealt with at many, many different levels.
We literally have a depressed community.
I think the first time I had alcohol, I was 11 years old, and I knew a guy named Mikey who agreed to buy alcohol for me. And we drank it in the back room of the house, and we heard someone coming, so we put it down. And when we came back to it, we started chugging it, and it was full of gnats, and we were just drinking these gnats. Like, that was how bad we wanted to get drunk and wanted to have that feeling.
And I think the first time I got drunk, it was more to be cool. It was more kind of giving up because my parents are like this is what I've seen, so it's not like I'm gonna be any different. Might as well have fun now, or what I thought would be fun.
Where you have a lack of things to do, you have more drinking. And we have a lack of things to do in this community for teens. It's been a problem for years and years and years and years, and lots of solutions have been tried. But the reality is they all cost money, and the money seems to dry up after a certain amount of time. The other thing is when you have a community that's hurting financially, in our communities, there's a lot of unemployment, there's a lot of people out of work, there's a lot of people low employed. All those are factors that add to drinking. So I think that just means there's going to be more. And we also have isolation as a part of that as well. So you add those factors together, we've got a lot of the pieces of the puzzle that add to, well, let's go out and drink.
It's the age of drinking that shocks me now. I know kids who are literally carrying around bags of weed and bottles of whiskey at the age of 11.
And there's a magical or fantasy aspect that, of course, is denial, a sense of, well, that really can't happen to me.
It's when that irresponsible thing happens that it starts costing the community in terms of outcomes that are damaging, whether it's damage to property or damage to people. If you have someone who becomes addicted at a young age, then you have the whole social ramifications of addiction, which are incredibly costly to a community.
I think it makes a community less of a community because there's two worlds now.
Although people die from drunk driving and teens are killed, generally the upper class people look away from it and they ignore it, and therefore they don't allow it to impact the community. The teens are what's going to be running the community eventually.
I intervene when I can, how I can, and sometimes, we have great success stories, and sometimes they're in juvenile hall. Sometimes worse. I did bury 2 of my students this last year, so yeah.
20 years ago, I lost 5 members of my family to a drunk driver. It was my aunt and uncle, and my cousin was 3, 7, and 11. And it's an impact on a family that is forever. The pain, it gets better, but you never forget it. That pain's always there.
Look up, live free, dream big, and see the world is yours. The world is yours. Give all you have to give. The world is yours. The world is yours.
I think drinking can be a gateway to doing a lot of other drugs and things.
Yeah, they are good boys and girls. And they still are. But they're dead, and they made a bad choice. Doesn't make them a bad kid. They just made a bad decision, unfortunately. And it's us that are left behind that suffer immensely.
If I smelled alcohol, there was no way to stop me from getting drunk. I'd get in fights with my best friends. It didn't matter. I was going to drink. Like, it had control over my life.
So I think the education is definitely there and it's available to them. It's whether they want to accept that education and make the right choices with it.
A lot of kids, when something is presented at school, they just shut down. You know, if their parents aren't telling them and they're not listening at school, then maybe, you know, the peers. I think it's shown to be probably the most effective way to deal with it, as long as it's truly a peer. You know, it really needs to be, yeah, I relate to you, you truly are my peer, and then I'll hear you.
Just sometimes putting it out there, you know, and not coding it. Yeah, is the best. Don't sugarcoat it. You know, if we've got at-risk teenagers in our county, and it starts now, not when they're 21 and go to prison.
It's not just the people who choose to pick up a bottle or a pipe or whatever. It's the other people's reactions to it. I mean, it's a whole community thing. It's not just all the blame's put on those bad people who didn't know any better. So more understanding, more compassion, just love.
The people you surround yourself with will make a difference. It really makes a difference.
What if, okay, out of this experience, out of this interview, somehow we, the collective we, really can make an impact or be there for young people?
So now we've been with the foster home for almost 3 years, and they're gonna adopt us, and we have no desire to ever turn back to alcohol or drugs or anything like that.